We have been absolutely blasting maps with the elemental hit Deadeye. It is easily one of the best clear builds I've ever played, and honestly not too expensive. And I told you about that crafted bow that wouldn't cost you too much to get going. However, you could craft it up to being a mirror tier bow if you wanted to. Now I told you I'd give you a guide that would tell you how to make the very basic bow all the way up to the mirror tier, god tier bow, and this is gonna be that guide. Hey guys, Big Ducks here, and welcome back to the channel. Now remember, if you're enjoying my content, like this video so that you can see more of it, and about 75% of you are still not subscribed to this YouTube channel, so make sure that you subscribe so that these videos will show right up in your feed. Now without further ado, let's get back to the video. These crafting videos are going to be way easier to make now because we have this crafting emulator on craftofexile.com. So I highly suggest that you give this a shot if you're like worried about being able to craft. This crafting emulator will make you a pro at being able to craft stuff without having to waste currency in game and potentially mess things up. So I'm going to be able to make a ton of crafting videos on specific items, just showing you straight through the emulator here so that I don't actually have to go and get all of those items. This is going to be an awesome tool. So the bow that we're going to be crafting today is going to be the Elemental Hit Deadeye +1/+2 bow. The idea is we are going to be making a two-handed bow. This is a very easy bow base to get. You can get a level 100 Imperial bow, 6-linked already with a divination card set. It's only about 10 chaos for the full eye level 100 6-link bow. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to do a fossil craft to be able to get the +1/+2. Now on average, this takes me around 5 tries to get. So the fossil crafting is going to be corroded, jagged, and metallic. And the reason why these three work is if we go over to the calculator and we take a look here, you'll see that on the left here, there's only 2 mods in this whole section here that don't have the tags elemental, physical, or chaos. And those 2 mods are +1 to level of socketed gems and +1 or +2 to level of socketed bow gems. So the idea is on the emulator here, you're going to notice that with corroded, it says no elemental, fire, cold, or lightning. With jagged, it says no chaos. And with metallic, it says no physical, no bleed. That means that every single prefix except for +1 and +2 are completely blocked. And that helps us make this bow quite easily. So the idea is we're going to do a 3 fossil set, and these 3 together are going to allow us to block all of those mods. The suffixes don't actually matter, and I'll show you why in a moment. So we're just going to hit it here, and we're just going to be going for +1/+2. Might take a couple of tries. Let's see how many it takes us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh wow, we actually got bow attacks, fire, and additional arrow. All right, so it took us about 8 or 9 tries there. That's relatively unlucky, actually. Okay, we did another one. There's +1/+2. There's 2. That was relatively unlucky. This bow that we got here is actually pretty decent. You could potentially just keep this. So the idea is that we will take this bow and we'll go ahead and continue with the next steps. So the next step that we're going to be doing here is we're going to be crafting elemental damage with attacks or elemental damage penetration. So on the bench, you're going to have access to the modifiers that will say, we're going to go to prefixes, elemental damage with attack skills. This is the cheaper one, and you can just craft this on there. This fills up all 3 prefixes on the item, okay? So now we've got 3 full prefixes, and we can use a harvest craft to be able to get the suffixes that we're looking for. The suffixes that we're going to be looking for are going to be attack speed, critical strike chance, and these bow attacks fire 2 additional arrows and bow attacks fire 1 additional arrow. Now keep in mind, the bow attacks fire 2 additional arrows is insanely rare. I'm talking ridiculously rare for this bow. I sat down for like 10 minutes and spammed harvest craft on a bow in here, and I did not see it a single time. I saw +1 arrow like 4 or 5 times, but I saw 0 +2s. So keep in mind, if you're really wanting to get the mirror tier, god tier perfect bow, the +2 arrows is extremely rare. I highly suggest that if you get +1 arrow, you stick with it, because otherwise, very extremely rare. So back over here, as I said, the next step that we're going to be doing is going to be harvest crafting. Now in harvest crafting, we have these other ones that you can get here, which is reforge a rare item, keeping prefixes. Now what this is going to do is it's going to keep our +2, it's going to keep our +1, and it's going to keep our crafted elemental damage with attacks. It is very important that you craft that elemental damage with attacks before you do this. If you leave that prefix open, it will always be open when you craft this bow. If you leave that prefix open and you hit it with one of these, it's going to fill it in with some random garbage. Just keep that in mind. So we're going to hit it with this, and we're just going to see what we get. We just got just attack speed. Now what you're ideally looking for here is one of the top tier mods, either arrows, crit, or attack speed, and you want a high ranking of it. All that you want to do is keep doing this until you get one of those modifiers very high, and hopefully one or two other modifiers that you can remove with Harvest in some way. So we're going to keep going until we get one of those modifiers that we're looking for. There's a bunch of them. That's too low of crit strike chance to keep. Crit strike multi is good, but it's not something that we want. You can go with that if you really have enough crit chance, which you probably won't on that build, but we're just going to keep going. Keep in mind this might take some time. Accuracy is actually okay, but that's low crit. This will take you some time, and this is why I suggest that you have 2 bows. Once you get one good one, you can just have a second bow that you're just going to do this on whenever you find harvest crafting. Also, I will have a video talking about how to get some more harvest craft soon. Okay, so we got a pretty decent crit strike chance here, but I'm gonna go a little bit further and see if we can get something even better. Like I said, it's just a bunch of random modifiers. Tier 2 attack speed. Okay, this is quite good. So we've gotten tier 2 attack speed here. Now, as I said, there's 3 mods that we're looking for. You can do one of 2 things at this point. I personally, what I would do is I would just keep this bow as is and just use this as my main bow and craft on the second one. However, if you just wanted to be done with it, the thing that you would do next here is you would go find a augment crit. These are expensive, keep that in mind. You might have to use TFT, or you might have to use some other service where you can buy these from somebody, but keep in mind if you trade your good item to somebody, they might just randomly take it. Just keep that in mind. You use augment crit, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to try to augment crit until you get crit strike chance. Now we got crit strike multi here, so we're going to be using replace crit now. And we would keep hitting this until we get a good crit strike chance. Man, we got really unlucky there. That's tier 6, it's not good enough. Tier 5, not good enough. You can see this might take a long time. You're gonna be spending a bunch of money to get this perfect. Okay, tier 2 crit. So at this point, you have basically made the bow that you're looking for, okay? Now, if you wanted to go one step further and you really wanted to get those additional arrows, that would take quite a while, but you can do it, and I'll show you here as well. If we keep doing the replace prefixes over and over again, I'm just gonna sit here and spam this for a couple minutes until I can find the additional arrows. Keep in mind, additional arrows is very, very rare. I could automatically put it on there, but I kinda wanna show you guys that this is not something that procs very often. We're just gonna hit this a whole bunch of times, and it is very, very, very rare to see it. This actually rolled attack speed tier 2, crit tier 2, crit tier 3, and then damage with bleeding, but that would be a good bow to keep. Oh, I actually got +2. The only thing that sucks about the fact that I got +2 here is that I got a dex roll on it. A dex roll cannot be removed with harvest crafting. We did get crit strikes on there as well, but a +2 is insanely rare. I literally spammed this for like 10 minutes earlier today and never got a +2. So the thing about this here, I would keep this. I would absolutely keep this without a shadow of a doubt. If I got +2 in any manner, I would keep it. Just because the +2 is insane for single target damage. So what I would do in this case is I would try to reroll this crit. I think that crit is probably better than attack speed, so what we would do is we would just use the replace again. We would do replace crit, and that should eventually get us a higher tier crit chance. We're looking for tier 1 or 2 crit chance if we can get it. Let's see if we can find that. Tier 1 crit strike chance. This is a ridiculous bow, an absolutely insane bow. This is worth a ton of money here. But I got insanely lucky with that +2 arrows. Now, ideally what you would want to do is you would want to be able to get something that can be removed. That attribute cannot be removed with harvest crafting very easily. You would have to just do the reroll keeping prefixes a whole bunch more times, but this bow is ridiculous. That's about as good as it can get besides getting +2 arrows without rolling something you can't remove. So keep in mind here, if you had rolled something like damage with bleeding, or you had rolled like projectile speed or life gained on kill or something like that, you can remove all of those with harvest crafting. You can do annuls to remove those. However, there is no harvest craft on this bow particularly that will allow you to safely remove that attribute roll. The only thing that you could do is if you really wanted to, and you really wanted to brick an amazing bow that you should just sell as is and craft a new one or use it, the only thing that you could do would be non-type to type. So the idea would be non-attack to attack. That is the only thing that you could do. This is a 50-50 chance to just brick the bow completely, because it's either going to take the +1 level of socketed gems, or it's going to take the dexterity, okay? So like if I hit this, it did actually take it off, and it rolled attack speed. So I got lucky with the 50-50. I would never do that in a real world scenario, right? And then from this point, you're just going to do replace speed. You would replace speed over and over again until you got what speed modifier you're looking for. Tier 1 attack speed, there you go. I showed you how to exactly piece by piece craft a like mirror tier bow essentially. Ridiculously rare. This item is insanely hard to get, but you can see that it is possible with crafting, and it's mostly step by step you can see how to get it. This is about as good as the bow can get. If we did want to craft like say a different prefix here, we could craft penetrate elemental resistances instead, like we could craft this one on here. So we'd have to take this one and we'd remove it. Attacks penetrate elemental resistances would be better. So this is about as good as it would get, right? So you could divine this a whole bunch of times until you got like exactly what you're looking for. Like there you go, 1 divine and I hit pretty much perfect rolls. It's like 2 off on critical strike chance. A ridiculous bow, absolutely. So you can kind of see this is the way that you go about crafting this ridiculous mirror tier bow. It is possible with harvest crafting. It is pretty step by step. I would personally say just stick with the +1, +2, and if you get that bow, keep it, right? Make another bow and get something halfway decent on it. Like if you can get crit and attack speed, just use that bow and then keep swapping back between the two. Or if you get really good rolls on it, you could just sell it and make a new one, right? Like if you get pretty decent rolls, but it's not the perfect bow that you're looking for, just sell the thing. It'll be perfectly fine. But this is an absolutely ridiculous bow. I hope that that was straightforward enough. I hope that you understood this, and I hope that you give the emulator a try, because it's really, really cool. And I really like this, and it's going to allow me to do a lot more crafting videos, because I won't actually have to go and get all of the crafting stuff for it. I can just do it right here. And being able to look at all the modifiers and see exactly what you're looking for is super, super helpful. I think Craft of Exile is easily one of the best tools that we have gotten in this game. With the simulator and the emulator added to it, an amazing tool, and a huge shout out to Craft of Exile. Go and use their site, they're absolutely amazing. That's gonna be it, boys. That's how you craft the actual bow itself. This is a little bit different. We never actually went into game, but it makes it significantly easier on me to make these videos. Let me know if you liked it. Down in the comments, let me know if you've used the crafting emulator and if you like it or not. So if you enjoy this content, make sure that you like this video. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content similar to this, and stay safe out there in raid class. And I'll see you guys in the next video.